Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1377, 1377, my friend. Welcome to Café Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. Today, it's Chely, no, that was yesterday. Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. We will get to the segment News Random, get to a couple news stories, and I will tell you about Mike's Big Wednesday.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Yesterday, that I'm still feeling the effects from,
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I was thinking yesterday, hey, I haven't been to the fair and all the fun stuff they're going to do this year. So I went there and it was $1 rides until 5 o'clock. And I got on one of the rides that rocked! But it rocked a little too much because
Mike's Daily Podcast.
got a major stomach issue to the point that I thought
Mike's
I might have to
Daily
puke.
Podcast.
But I did not.
Yeah!
I just got really, I'd been up since 4. And then I go to the fair, and it was pretty hot. It doesn't matter what the temperature is around you, once you get on that asphalt where all the rides are, it's hot. So I went on this ride that is like an egg beater. You remember the old style egg beaters? Look who walked in. The kind that you turn the crank. Okay, imagine that and then spinning around while you're turning the thing. That's what it was like. I was like on that egg beater, spinning around upside down as the whole thing spun around. And you're spinning around backwards. So everything, your body is just being turned upside down. Now, there's 2 rides like this. One of them was even more extreme than look who else walked in. The one I was on. That actually, I think the whole thing went upside down, some crazy deal. But I just can't do it anymore. And I went and had a wonderful lunch. I think it's called Beer Barons in Pleasanton. So scary. And I'll tell you why, because that lunch did not sit well after that ride for sure. I did enjoy 2 of their dark beers, the darkest beers that they had. I had 2 beers. One was this thing from, what's it called? Something Works. Field Works, maybe?
And here's today's podcast picture.
It's not of the beer. And the other drink beer was from this place called Modern Times. And both of them were like they were coffee stouts, that's right. One of them came in a pint glass, the other came in a tiny little sifter glass. Yet it was $9. But I said, what the hell? I'm celebrating the first day of summer, even though that was weeks ago. Actually, that was last week, huh? And I said, what the heck? I never do this. The bill came out to crazy for a lunch, even though I was supposed to be getting happy hour prices, but it was still, they're expensive to begin with. And then I go on this ride, and it almost all came back up again. So this is my Wednesday that I had, and I enjoyed oh so much. And I realized that I cannot go to the fair and ride the rides. I can go to the fair and walk around and listen to this one girl that she sounded amazing, young girl. She was doing country, she was doing the new hip-hop type tune, I don't know what it was. It sounded like a Nicki Minaj song. And she did that Bruno Mars song that kills me every time I hear it. That one. I should have brought you flowers. But I've pretty much disregarded every single sound effect that has happened so far on today's show, which makes me a really bad podcast host. Let's say hi to all the people that came in. Hi, Mark. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player, tell you what.
What?
I love the fair. Fair is a fun place full of fun people. Wonderful rides. Rides that make you want to vomit. That kind of thing.
Yeah. It's wonderful. Oh. There's your horse, Nelly.
Yeah.
And you know what? I am mad because I could not find the petting zoo yesterday. I wanted to go see the petting zoo. I posted a podcast picture last year of me petting a deer. And I couldn't find it, and I was so queasy after that ride, I said, forget it. I just left. I might go back Saturday and see more of it, but when you get into your late 40s, my friend, it's a little more difficult to do the spinning rides. Roller coasters I'm fine with, but the spinning ones, forget about it. Look who else is here.
Hello, Mike. I make the delicious Irish beer. Have some. It will help your tummy turn. Oh, boy.
Thank you, Brewmaster. I actually, then, when I got back to my car, I was going to drive home, but I'm too tired. I'm still too queasy. So I found a tree to park under in downtown Pleasanton. And I slept for like a half hour, just like that. I was asleep. And I awoke to the sounds, kind of like these sounds here that you're hearing now. The crowds. Only instead of the piano playing, I heard David Bowie, let's dance. Put on your dark shoes and dance the blues. And I heard, so I'm hearing these sounds, and it was just so soothing. And then I got up and I walked over to see where the noise was coming from. It was coming from the back of some new beer, another beer place. There's a couple of these beer places opening up in Pleasanton. But it was their beautiful outdoor patio, and people are sitting there and talking and drinking beer and some wine. And so downtown Pleasanton has become like a little Portland, Oregon. Which when I went to Portland, Oregon, that's all I did basically, was go from happy hour to happy hour. That was fun. And now my ex-brother-in-law is going to have his bachelor party up there. So that's not till October, and I need to may or may not be able to book a ticket for that because I still need to go to Florida. So much to do for the mic, and so much to do for you. And we need to get to the news. But first, I would like to point out the website, mikesdailypodcast.com, with all the past shows, all the myriad of places. We probably, as a podcast, have more places that you can listen to this show than anywhere else. There's places on, have you ever heard of Mixcloud, or Player FM, or TuneIn? We're on all of those, as well as YouTube. You can find all those places, see all the past podcast pictures. You can help out the show through the Amazon link if you're going to buy anything. Click on that Amazon link, buy whatever it is you're going to buy, and that helps us out. There's also the PayPal, and you can become an Inglorious Mike's Daily Podcaster. You'll get a special personalized MP3 for thee from all the Café Anyway characters. It's all there at mikesdailypodcast.com. And now the segment called
News Random.
Mike, it's Mucky Fucky.
Yes, let's zip through some news random. The majority of hate crimes experienced by U.S. residents over a 12-year period were not reported to the police. This according to a new federal report that was released today. That stoked advocates' concerns about ongoing tensions between law enforcement and Black and Latino communities. More than half of the 250,000 hate crimes that took place each year between 2004 and 2015 were unreported to law enforcement for a variety of reasons. Hate crimes were most often not reported because they were handled some other way, but people also did not come forward because they didn't feel it was important or that police would help. It was based, this report, on a survey of households. It's one of several studies that aim to quantify hate crimes. This according to the Associated Press. Its release comes as the Justice Department convenes a meeting today with local law enforcement officials and experts to discuss hate crimes, including a lack of solid data on the problem nationwide. And Attorney General Jeff Sessions is scheduled to speak. And I just want to say that I didn't know people hated each other. That's not how we are in Alabama. The new survey shows the limits of hate crime reporting. Many victims don't report hate crimes because of personal and institutional reasons. For example, some Latino immigrants may be reluctant to call police after an apparent hate crime for fear of deportation. Advocates fear that problem is worsening as the Trump administration ramps up immigration enforcement. Meanwhile, this horrible hacking going on. A computer virus wreaked havoc on firms around the globe yesterday as it spread to more than 60 countries. We were talking about it yesterday on the last podcast. Disrupting ports from Mumbai to LA and halting work on a chocolate factory in Australia. How dare you stop Willy Wonka's important work. Risk modeling firm Cayente said economic losses from this week's attack and one last month from a virus dubbed WannaCry would total $8 billion. That estimated amount highlights the steep tolls businesses around the globe face from growth in cyber attacks that knock critical computer networks offline. When systems are down and can't generate revenue, that really gets the attention of executives and board members. This has heightened awareness of the need for resiliency and better security in networks. The virus, which researchers are calling GoldenEye or Petya, began its spread Tuesday in the Ukraine. It affected machines of visitors to a local news site and computers downloading tainted updates of a popular tax accounting package. It shut down a cargo booking system at Danish shipping giant AP Møller-Mærsk, causing congestion at some of the 76 ports around the world run by its APM terminal subsidiary. Maersk said late last night that the system was back online. And U.S. delivery firm FedEx said its TNT Express division had been significantly affected by the virus. It had wormed its way into South America, affecting ports in Argentina operated by China's COFCO. So it demands, this virus demands $300 from its victims for recovery that you pay through Bitcoin. And I mentioned in the last show that you were then supposed to email this account, which the server that holds that account was closed down, so there's really no way to tell the hijackers, the criminals, that you have paid the ransom. So in essence, you've lost your files and there's nothing to do to get them back unless you've got some really smart techie person who can get in there and fix it. The other thing that I heard about it today was it is the best way to combat it is to make sure to do the updates for your computer. You know, if your computer is saying waiting to do the Windows updates, this expert was saying you need to put those updates in, but don't click on things that say stuff like basically be careful of what you click on, but if it's the update thing, then that's great to do that. That's what this expert was saying. So Apple's iPhone, now they say Apple products don't really get infected too much by viruses. That's what one Apple advocate told me. But the iPhone turns 10 this week, evoking memories of a rocky start for the device that ended up doing most to start the smartphone revolution, stirring interest in where it will go from there. This written by Reuters. Apple has sold more than 1 billion iPhones since 2007, but the first iPhone, which launched without an app store and was restricted to AT&T, was limited compared to today's version. After sluggish initial sales, Apple slashed the price to spur holiday sales that year. The business model for year one of the iPhone was a disaster. Apple then pivoted and figured it out in year two. The very concept of the iPhone came as a surprise to some of Apple's suppliers a decade ago, even though Steve Jobs had already expanded beyond computers with the iPod and was leading the way with that. We still have the voicemail from Steve Jobs when he called the CEO and founder here said David Bairstow of Skyhook, the company that supplied location technology to early iPhones. He thought he was being pranked by someone in the office, and it took him 2 days to call Steve Jobs back. The iPhone hit its stride in 2008 when Apple introduced the App Store, which allowed developers to make and distribute their mobile applications with Apple taking a cut of any revenue. And that basically is the whole thing behind the Android phones. As we go outside a Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcaster Valley. All the amazing apps that have come out since, and people come up with an idea, and it's not just one company coming up with these different app ideas. Your Snapchat, your what's something I have? Yelp. I'm a little queasy, my friend, but we're gonna forge ahead today on this Thursday and have a good one, I hope, for you. Next show, it will be Madame Rutabaga, Valentino, and Bison Bentley.
Yeah.
Oh, and hey, today's podcast picture has Valentino, the parking attendant, in a drawing. I forgot to mention that.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!